Let me try to pull this up. I love how these start with me looking at my phone, talking about talking about mindfulness. Like, da, da, da. Thanks for tuning in, bearing with me while I make sure everything looks right. Um, Troubleshooting a couple technical obstacles here. Yeah, looks good. All right, and I have access to reading your comments, so by all means, Happy New Year, everyone. This can be a nice interactive conversation. If you got any questions, got any ideas, and share with your friends or anything else. Oh, I gotta mute the phone. All right, so it is the year 2021. Welcome to it. Chance York here, ready to discuss mindfulness, habits, New Year's resolutions, and why they hardly ever work. And I would love to hear any input that you have on the conversation. And then following this discussion, we'll do some chair yoga. So that should start, slightly after 11 to make up for the shift in the schedule a little bit. But I definitely want to reiterate, Happy New Year to you. I'd say for the most part, people feel pretty strongly about 2020, whether it was a good or bad year. And, that is something we are still navigating, because not to be a downer at all, but 2021, we're entering it with a lot of the same challenges we faced in 2020. So what is the difference? That is what we're looking at. What's the difference if we're starting a new year? And I would like to offer up this as the difference. The difference is now we are more equipped. We have made it through the hardships of 2020. We have come out on the other end, maybe a bit more wise, maybe a bit more grateful, maybe just more able to appreciate what we have because of the uncertainty we faced in 2020. It's a lot how life works. Life has struggles. Life has challenges and ups and downs. And in ancient philosophy, there's a philosophy called Taoism, which is best represented by the symbol of the yin-yang, the yin and yang, the opposites. We have hey, Happy New Year, Cindy. So the yin and yang, you can all picture it. There's the light and the dark dancing or kind of swirling together. And then in the middle of the light, there's darkness. In the middle of the darkness, there's light. This kind of reminder that the way things are is in a constant changing balance, an ever-present balance, even though it's constantly changing. So, the great American philosopher 50 Cent once said, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. And that is another concept. These opposites exist to make us appreciate the opposite. So the challenges, the struggles, the uncertainty, the fear, the scarcity, the hoarding with the toilet paper and all that, and the conspiracy theories, and just the general unrest and people being very reactionary. It taught us a bit more about what we want. It might have swayed the scales one way for a certain amount of time, but everything comes back to balance. That's what this idea of yin and yang is all about. So all of the struggle that we went through in 2020, maybe the problems that caused our struggles in 2020 haven't changed yet into 2021. But what has changed is us and our ability, our strengths, our capabilities, our awareness. And maybe we found a little bit more clarity as to what it is that we want, what it is that we choose for our future moving forward. And in this beautiful balance, we can remember that a common theme of what this mindfulness is about is that the world is coming from you more than it's coming at you. So welcome to 2021. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you've endured whatever challenges the last year brought to you, and now using everything you've gained from those challenges to carry into 2021 as a new you, a more capable, resilient, maybe patient, maybe more action and less reaction. However it resonates for you, whatever you find that you've gained from the challenges of 2020. Now, moving on to my second topic, habits. Some statistics that I find interesting regarding New Year's resolutions or habit change in general is that people underestimate how challenging it is to actually change your behavior. How hard it is to install a new habit. Now, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's impossible. In fact, that's what my job is. My day job is to help people understand the art or the science of creating new habits. There's laws of behavior change. There's reasons why our brain works the way it does. And there's a reason why so many people are unsuccessful in sticking to their New Year's resolutions. So statistically, about 8% of people can say, oh, starting on January 1st, I'm gonna go to the gym every day, or I'm gonna quit smoking, or I'm gonna eat healthy, or I'm gonna, delete the apps off my phone, or whatever their New Year's resolution is. About 8% of people are successful in adopting a new habit, which leaves the rest, 92% more or less, of people falling into often a shame cycle, because failure is the opposite of success in our minds, right? But that's not the case at all. If 92% of people are unable to change their behavior just by willing it, there's more to it. That's not failure. That might be ill preparedness. That might be underestimating the size of the challenge of what it takes to actually change your behavior, create new habits, install new habits. So, another statistic. By about 1 week, say someone is going to change their habits, I'm going to do something new, 2021. About 50% of people, they return back to their their undesirable habits in less than 7 days. Half of people are already back to their regular ways after 1 week. And as I said, about 92% of people eventually fall off of their new behaviors. My unique experience, my career, my expertise is in the art of coaching people. Coaching people on understanding mindset is everything. If every time you fall off your habit and then you beat yourself up for it, you get into shaming yourself, you get into, oh, I'll never be able to change, it's just like last year, it's never gonna go away, there's something wrong with me, I'm a failure, yada yada yada, the regular shame loop. This is what perpetuates the behaviors we're trying to depart from, is this feeling that, oh, we can't change because we tried and it didn't work, or that this old behavior is still so appealing and I still want it and obsess about it. So patience, recognizing patience. It is normal to not be able to change your behavior without a concise plan, or like myself, a wellness coach, a mindset coach, that reminds you repeatedly that this is a ebb and flow. Some days you have the motivation for a new behavior, some days you don't. But there is a system of behavior change to recognize what it is that makes you want something, well, and then wanting it and how that drives your action to go and get it, and then the reward, which brings you back to the beginning of this cycle, back to the cue of wanting something. You want something, and you crave something, and then you move to get something, and then you're rewarded by getting it. And that's how basically all of our behaviors work, is this loop. It's a loop of shortcutting ourselves to the rewards that we want. Even if those rewards aren't rewarding, they're just habitual. A lot of our drives come from the most basic human drives. Food and survival, reproduction, and gaining some type of social status or influence. So when you break down whatever your habit is that you're trying to depart from, and you get realistic about how many times you've done that habit and how automatic that habit is, then you can start to get a grasp on what type of work is in front of you. Recognizing that if you've done something 1,000 times, 2,000 times, well, how hard is it to just be like, I'm never going to do it again? So then if you do, for whatever reason, do it again, it's not a shame cycle. It's a recognition that I still need more work to either undo the cravings, remove the cues from my life, make the rewards less satisfying, and make it more challenging to follow through with the behavior I'm trying to depart from, or make it easier to go about the behavior that I wish for. So just for an example, if this is all very subjective or just an idea to you, to put it into practice. Say you want to start practicing yoga every day. Well, the first thing that you want to do is create cues that remind you frequently of practicing yoga. Maybe you can use your social media and start following a bunch of people that are always posting stuff about yoga. So then if you tune into your social media, then you might see someone doing yoga, and that might remind you that you want to do yoga, that you like doing yoga, okay? Secondly, the craving. So the idea of making it more obvious in your life, making you reminded of the thing you're trying to do often. Then the next thing is the craving. You want to make the craving enticing. So what is the immediate reward of practicing yoga? Well, it might make you feel more calm, might make you feel more relaxed, stretched out, make your body feel better. So just spend some time thinking about how good it feels when your body is full of energy and not constricted and tied off, and do a little thinking about it. Create a craving to want to feel like that. Put yourself in that position in your mind, right? And thirdly, making the action, taking the action, making it simple, making it easy. So if your regular yoga practice would require, I gotta put on my outfit, and I gotta make sure my outfit matches, and I gotta do my hair, and then I gotta drive to the studio or the gym, and I have to fill up my water bottle, and there's all these steps to going to practice yoga, right? And you have a system that has a lot of steps, challenging, maybe simple, but lots of steps to get there. Try to make it simpler. If you want to practice yoga every day, all you really need is the mat and the ground. Maybe your regular practice is, I need a YouTube, or I need to log on to my device, and I need to have this teacher, or I need to get my DVDs, or whatever your regular practice is. Invest 20 minutes in learning a few poses on your own, so you don't need a device. So you don't need a YouTube. So you don't need anything. All you need is a basic understanding of your breath and a handful of poses. So all you need to do is have the ground and maybe a mat. Leaving the mat in a space where you can practice it, that's another reminder. Oh, it's right there. All I need to do is go there. And then lastly, so that's 3 steps. First, make more cues, make more reminders to do it. You can leave yourself notes. You can follow a bunch of Instagram yogis. You can, whatever helps you remind yourself often of that behavior you want. Secondly, spend some time thinking about how good it feels to do it. Increase the craving with intentional reflection, how good it makes you feel. Thirdly, creating a system of making the habit easier, making it simple to get right to the mat, to get the reps in, to get the repetitions. You can do this by simply learning a few poses, having a yoga mat on your ground, doing it whenever you can, often. And lastly is the satisfaction. Make it satisfying. Make it satisfying by really being in the moment. That's what yoga is, but being in the moment, feeling how good it feels, making a lot of memories of being like, ooh, my spine feels good, my shoulders feel good, this feeling feels good. Make a lot of memories. Make it satisfying. In these simple steps make adopting a positive habit easier. So how do we reverse that if you're trying to depart from a bad habit? Well, you want to remove as much as you can the cues that make you start that process. So if you are trying to quit smoking, it's a good one, quit smoking cigarettes, you should stop buying them. Don't have them around. Don't have your lighter around. Don't have the ashtrays around. If you know your friends smoke cigarettes, spend a little less time with those people around those cigarettes. Less and less cues, less things that remind you of doing it. This is how you control your system. You create your system by removing the cues. Try to make the cues invisible. Next, if you're trying to quit smoking cigarettes, spend a lot of time thinking of how unsatisfying it is. If it's the smells bad, the sore muscles, the smoker's cough, the breath, whatever it is that the setbacks that you can identify of what you don't like, meditate on that. Dwell on how much you don't want that. The feeling of tiredness or soreness or being out of breath or short-winded. Spend time thinking about how badly you don't want it. Take your time making it very unattractive, creating the opposite of a craving, creating a repulsion through mindful intention. Lastly, the third step would be make it very hard to commit that action. First step, not buying them. Don't have them around. Don't have them in your house, in your closet. Spend less time with people that you might be able to bum one from, so on. Making it more challenging to complete the behavior. Because like anything, any craving, any thought, it comes and goes. But if a craving comes and it's as easy as reaching over and grabbing one, well, that temptation versus making it reality is like really setting yourself up for failure. We don't always have the willpower. So what we have to do is create an environment that makes it very challenging. Accountability partners, whatever, friends that will hold you to your goals. And then fourthly, make it unsatisfying. Say you do slip up, smoke a cigarette. Notice all that you don't like about it. Be realistic with yourself. Now, these are just some general examples, but the laws of behavior change are it's understanding that our body is a physiological being, understanding that our brain is a hardwired system of connections. So things that trigger us or cue us, we might not even recognize what they are, and we might not even notice the size of our craving. We might not even notice how convenient and easy we've made it to have bad habits, and how we also need to make it easy and convenient to have good habits, because the willpower is not always there. It's about using our willpower to make systems that make it easier to create those behaviors. So just a little talk about behavior change. If you are planning on making big changes in your life this year, recognize three main things. It is a lot of work, but you can do it. Everyone can do it. But prepare for a challenge and prepare to take action, because it's work to change your behavior. Secondly, be compassionate with yourself. Don't get into a spiral of identifying with failure because you can't change your behaviors. It's hard work to change your behaviors, and you need all the love and compassion and understanding that you can with yourself. And three, people that use accountability partners, whether it's a wellness coach or a trusted friend or family member, are 80% likely to be able to change their behavior. That's 10 times more likely than someone that just decides, I'm going to change my behavior. Accountability, compassion with yourself, and a good plan, a good structured plan on how to stick with creating new behavior. Because once something becomes an unconscious routine, whether it's good or bad, it takes work to change it. So if you create a good habit in your life, a good mindset, a good pattern, a good system that promotes the behaviors that you want, whether that's healthy eating, working out, you don't always have to go to the gym. Gyms might not always be open in this era of COVID, but if you have the floor and you have the intention to move your body, that's all you need. Simplify the steps you're trying to make. So with that, let's finish with a very brief meditation. A meditation of a few steps. Let's sit up tall. More positivity and happiness. That's right, Rhonda. Thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you all for just riding with me this past, I think, darn near 6 months. We've went just sharing mindfulness talks and simple meditations and stuff that you can do to destigmatize or simplify this idea. You don't have to meditate for 20 minutes. You don't have to be a monk in the mountains. You can meditate for 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. It's about being present. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the more that you do it, what you cultivate is more attention. And attention is your biggest currency in this world. So, let's sit up tall. Point your attention inward to the body. How is the spine? How are the shoulders? Start to deepen the breath in and out through the nose. Notice if your attention is being pulled elsewhere. Notice your habitual thinking. As soon as you still the mind and start to pay attention to the body, where does the mind jump to? Is it the future? Is it someone else? Is it somewhere else? Is it the past? And just invite your attention back to the here and now, into your body with your breath. Create that loud, flowing breath like ocean waves, in and out, with a slight constriction in the back of the throat. Think of what obstacles you faced in 2020. Not external obstacles, but the ones you can identify as your deal, something that you can change. Maybe it's too much time on the phone, the social media. Maybe it's too much time online shopping or dwelling on negativity. Maybe it's too much time arguing with strangers or eating indulgent food or partaking in whatever behavior that you deem as undesirable, something you no longer want to do. Get very clear about what it is. Get very clear about a few instances that it's occurred where you can picture it very clearly with all your senses. This power of visualization. See yourself partaking in that activity you no longer want to do. And using clear visualization, imagine yourself doing something different, the opposite. If it's spending too much time on the couch scrolling or watching TV, imagine yourself walking around the block. Imagine what that's like to bring more activity into your life. Maybe it's read a book instead of Instagram. Maybe it's reach for a piece of fruit instead of a cup of ice cream. Whatever your thing is, whatever you're trying to depart from, see yourself doing something different. Keep breathing and feel with all of your sensations what it feels like to do something different than the habits you're trying to depart from. Think of how frequently you would have to remember to do something different. Is it every morning? Is it every time after you eat? Is it every time you see your phone or every time your phone chimes? Is it every time you compare yourself to someone else? How often do you have to remember to do something different? Think something different. Feel something different. Keep on breathing with a clear intention of how good it feels when you do that. How good does it feel to be doing your desired habit, your desired behavior? Just a few more breaths here. Feel it in your body. Satisfaction comes down to action. Can't spell action without action. How do you show up today in action? And how do those actions set yourself up to make it easier to take the same actions tomorrow and the next day? Just a few more breaths. Feel satisfied. Feel satisfied for making it through a challenging year. Feel satisfied for being here, recognizing that just a reminder, a perspective can be empowering. Feel compassionate for yourself, for all the mistakes you've ever made, for all the bad habits you're trying to depart from. There's nothing wrong with you. But to be the desired self that you want, it takes work. So be compassionate with yourself where you're at. Be satisfied with the actions you take day after day. Because life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And changing your behavior comes down to changing your perspective. Shame won't help you. Only love can do that. Connect to the feeling of love, self-love, compassion, self-forgiveness. That's where we find empowerment. Because today is a new year. Thanks for tuning in. I know we're a little off schedule, but I'll be back momentarily with some chair yoga. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful 2021. Share this with friends if that feels good. Leave comments or suggestions. And I look forward to seeing you in like a minute and a half. Thanks.